this workshop. This workshop is actually a prerequisite. It is a course on IMP, Arrow 12, Nonviolent Communication. It is a prerequisite towards my ordination path. So I appreciate everyone who is here for this workshop. So it's going to actually be an interactive one, and this topic is what is needful to ourselves, to our homes, and our communities where we are. The act of nonviolent communication. We observe that the world we are is a busy world. A world where everybody wants to get things done, where there's so much pressure, and the pressure is making us not act out the best of ourselves. Seemingly, it will appear that the pressure is subduing that part of us that should actually be what we should be projecting. And that pressure is making us act out another part of us that is not supposed to be what we should project sometimes. So this lesson, at the end of this workshop, which is going to be interactive, we are going to understand the principles of nonviolent communication. That's from the foundational concept of the components. There are 4 components of nonviolent communication. And also, we're going to develop how to develop empathy and active listening. To develop empathy and active listening skills. Improve on our self-expression. How to improve on our self-expression? Practice expressing oneself honestly and clearly without judgment or criticism. We're also going to learn about conflict resolution techniques and methods to resolve conflicts peacefully and promote peace in our community, where we are, and also our well-being, so that we can promote a supportive environment for all that is concerned. If we look at the 5 unity basic principles, this workshop is centered on the last that said that the truth that I do is not just for myself. I also do this truth so that the world around me may also see this light, see this truth in me, and be changed by the truth that I am. Violence is actually measure for measure. Doing something by force, doing it by, with so much emotion. But we are looking at non-violence, the act of getting things done without welling up so much of that emotion. Because we have the spiritual intelligence, we have the IQ, intelligent quotient, and spiritual intelligence, and we also have emotional intelligence, that is emotional quotient. So this workshop is based on developing our emotional intelligence, how we can control, because it is a comprehensive thing for us to experience complete well-being. Non-violent communication does not mean that we become pushed over, that one becomes a pushover, or that one becomes, you just let things are happening around you, you become so passive and you do not get the things resolved, or because you feel, I don't want to involve myself, where actually you're supposed to involve yourself. But the act of non-violent communication is about getting that thing done or resolved without losing yourself. Getting that thing done without losing yourself in the process. So it is not staying passive, but staying peacefully active in every situation. And also learning the art of communication that can help us beyond our environment, where maybe in a corporate world, in our community, in different places. Act of nonviolent communication is actually centered on 4 components. And those 4 components are observation, feeling, need, and request. observation, feeling, need, and request. These are 4 basic components of non-violent communication. And as we proceed, I'm going to explain. I want to use an analogy of how we sometimes communicate. We know this animal that is called giraffe, a giraffe. The giraffe is actually kind of always a quiet, unassuming animal. And we also know this other animal, it's called a jackal. The jackal that is so aggressive and violent. A giraffe is actually usually considered open, respectful, assertive, and non-judgmental. And these are qualities that need to be developed if we want to communicate non-violently. Openness, respect, assertiveness, and being non-judgmental. On the other hand, the jackal is an animal that accuses, judges, reproaches, and manipulates. And if one imbibes these qualities, because there will always be problems, there will always be conflict. There will always be conflict. If we imbibe the qualities of jackal that accuses all the time, that judges, that reproaches, and that manipulates, then we'll find out that our communication will never be smooth. So what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to imprison the jackal in us and release the giraffe in us so that we'll communicate effectively. Imprison the jackal. So non-violent communication is about letting these negative attitudes, letting them go, dropping them, so that the positive attitudes within us can actually emerge. It is not just about the community, because you might be asking, of what use is it to me? I am this, I am that. Whatever, if the first person that benefits from non-violence is the person who has decided to imprison or to release that positive attitude in them. Because that is what will pave way to a lot of things in life. That is what will also pave way for the person, well-being, spiritual well-being, mental well-being, emotional well-being, and well-being all around. And so, in communication, as the first component, we look at observation. Observation. When something happens, when an event occurs, when somebody says something, the first component of nonviolent communication, which is observation, comes in. The first thing we are supposed to do is to observe. Observe that situation. And what does observation? What do we think in observing? What do we think? Why should we observe? And what do we think is involved in observing? This is interactive because this is because we are dwelling on these 4 components. That's the ingredient of this. Why do we think we should observe that situation? Like somebody does something. Okay, we can go on because there's going to be like a lot of demonstration. Please, ask about it. Come. Okay, he is supposed to kind of hold this Bible, but this is an offering box. But he comes, keep it here. He comes and keep it. Then, how did you keep this thing here? What is wrong with you? Don't you know that what is happening? I'm already reacting. What is wrong with you? Don't you know that this is not the right place? Don't you have eyes? What is it? You can go back. Why do we think will be the emotion that will be going on in that person? Is the person actually listening? Do we think the person is hearing us? No, the person is not hearing. The person is hearing us, the sound. But the person is not, we are not communicating a need. We are not communicating a need. And so nothing is achieved in this communication. So the first thing is to do what? Observe. Understand? That somebody will just come and keep this thing here. Observation requires that you wonder why this thing happened. Why is it that this person will just come and keep this? There is a reason. There is a reason. And sometimes that reason is not really because it is against anybody. That reason may also be because the person is passing through conflict within them. That reason may be because the person has not understood something. That reason may be because something is happening. I gave an analogy some time ago of a man who was in a park. No, he was not in a park. The place was a kind of a garden. He needed somewhere that was quiet. And so he came with his children and he just sat there, relaxing. And the children were making noise and playing all over the park, all over the garden. And another man came and was now asking, just came and started shouting, can't you control your children? Don't you know this is a garden? Can't you control them? Can't you, just enrage? And that man softly said, how do I let them know that their mother, whom we just dropped off at the hospital, has passed on? When you let the jackal in you, the accuser, the judgmental person, the one that is reproaches and the manipulator relief, you create conflict within yourself and your environment. Observation should be the first. The man there is not a fool. Observation demands that why will this man should know this place is a garden? Why is it that he is allowing this? So it demands, so nonviolent communication is about us. That before you let that part of you that you have not tamed, that you have not taken care of, that you have not healed, comfort, take a deep breath and observe that situation. And there are questions you can ask in observation. In observation, stick to the fact, not question, stick to the fact. Don't make interpretations. Do not judge. When you observe it, stick to the fact. Don't make interpretation. Do not judge. As people came and dropped this Bible here, don't make interpretation. And this is what you also do. This is how you always do. Don't you have eyes? Don't you know you're already making interpretation? You're already judging. You're already, accusing. You have not addressed the issue. You have not addressed the issue. So what would I do? The first step, observe. The second step is to put words to your observation. Put words to your observation. How do you communicate your observation? I can see that. What I notice is that. What I hear is that. I can see that you left your seat and kept this Bible here. You're not followed. And I'm wondering why. I can see that you don't normally do this thing like this. And this thing happened this way. And I'm wondering why. I noticed that you're just sitting relaxed and you're not even, you're just sitting relaxed and these children are playing and it appears that you're not here, I noticed that in the case of the man in the garden, or whatever situation, I can see that this thing that I've done, whether it's in the family, talking to children, talking to spouse, I can see that this action, is making, this is what is happening. And I'm wondering what is contributing to it. You are wondering, you are not judging. The judgment comes in that, I see that you have done this thing again. This thing is what is actually, affecting you in your. As soon as that statement comes, you have blocked the communication barrier between you and that person. The person is no longer thinking of correction. The person is not thinking of either, like if it's somebody who is here. So it has started again. So I'm like this. So I'm bad. So I'm this. In case of children. So I'm this kind of person. So I'm this. Or, they have started again. They are accusing me again. They are saying this again. They are judging me again. Whatever, any other person, the person has become preoccupied with himself. I'm not hearing what you're saying. And that is why sometimes you see that after talking to children, tomorrow you say the same thing to that child again. If you always use the jackal approach to address issues, you find out that you keep repeating that same thing over and over at home to a child. You also find out that issues, even not to children, keep also arising over and over again. Observe, the child might have a need. The person might have a need. And that need may be what is making that thing happen. That need may be what is making the person manifest those actions. That need, there are different needs that we have. I will speak more on this need later. Emotion. Emotion, that's the... Put emotions, how you feel about it, and anger, or how you feel about something. Put emotion to it. Honestly, declare your emotion. I feel bad about it. I feel disappointed in this. Express that emotion. I feel disappointed in this action. Don't go around, words. There is, in resolving conflicts between, if it was a man and a woman, they've been married for like 39 years. And they had always had one issue that they are not resolved. A great woman, a great man, they are living, there's no problem. But they have always had issues about money and spending. So that issue was there, and so they invited this man, who his work is to resolve conflict. That's his profession, he resolves conflict. And the man was trying to say, in that teaching, the first thing is to hear a need. Once you hear the need of both parties involved, then the conflict will resolve. But if you do not hear that need, the conflict will persist. But when you hear that need, what do you need to hear the need? Active listening and empathy. Active listening means there's a lot involved in listening. Because sometimes we say we listen, we are not actually listening. Empathy means putting yourself, feeling what you are in the person's shoes. That is empathy. Put yourself in that person's shoes. This person that is behaving like this, there is a need, there is a reason. So you put yourself in the person's shoes, and that is why you will need, that means you want to understand that person. Because it's important in that communication. And so when they wanted to resolve this thing, the man now asked, no need to go over, what do you need? What do you think is your husband's need? Okay, what do you think is first of all, ask the wife, what do you think is your wife's need in this issue? Said she spends too much, she did this, every time she just wastes money. That is accusing, judgment, and accusation. That is not what is asked. So, but most times, that is what we put forward. But that doesn't solve the problem of knowing what the need really is. And then he asked the wife, can you hear your husband's need? Yeah, he's always accusing me. Money. Can you hear the need? Then the man was asked again, can you express this need? Then the mediator held them to that. Are you worried about your financial state in this family? He said yes. And this is what should have been communicated. Instead of just accusing and accusing. And the wife was like, have you heard the need? And he's always, every time he's complaining, have you heard the need? Then the husband needs to hear the wife's need. The wife's need is that he feels, things, the right thing, the things that are durable, that has value, should be bought. And not an inferior product. And the man is feeling that I may run out of cash, I may go bankrupt if we continue this way. These are actually the needs. Like if they have brought down the two egos down and discussed this matter. This is what I'm afraid of. Communicate your feeling, communicate your need. If the man has said, this is my fear. It is not about this person, but this is my fear. My fear is this might happen. Once the person hears that need, the conflict is already resolved. That is when, okay, what do we now do about it? I understand how you feel. So the issue here is to hear that need. Hear the need. Understand what the person's need is. And then you can move on into resolving that. Express what you need. What you would appreciate to see respected. Like, I would have, what counts to me is or my fear is, or what I really wish is. Express it. Their request. Point out concretely what you expect from the other person. That is a request. Point it out concretely. Remember, in all these processes, you're taming your emotion. You're taming your anger. You're taming your ego. Because the thing is, what do you want? Do you want the thing resolved? Or do you want your ego boosted and shown? What do you really want? This thing that is happening, what do you really want? What do I really want from this child? What is really my expectation? It's not really about expectation. What do I really want from this child? Why is the child behaving? What is this child's need? His need may be, I wish I would be better understood. That thing may be going on within him. Like in his case, I wish I would be better understood. I wish I would be like other people. I wish they could understand me. I wish, I hope. These are the needs. And somebody, when you understand that need in that person, and then you now know that the action that this person is doing is less than what that need. It's less than the main thing is that need. And you being judgmental increases the confusion in that person and increases that emotion in that person. And the person goes further and further and further, within. And sometimes, that's where sometimes without even trying, many people, well, anyhow they want to do, let them be doing. Me, I'm no longer putting it in that. But the problem will persist. The problem will persist. In request, point out concretely what you expect. So based on the need, based on this need, my fear is this, and this is why I would want this, and this is why it appears that I'm talking like this, and this is why it appears that I'm speaking this way. And sometimes in a child, I want you to do it this way. Sometimes you insist when children are concerned, or adults. I insist. Since you have understood this need, I insist that we do this thing like this going forward. You are being assertive. You are being assertive. Alright. I want to give it an analogy. Let us look at that analogy. And you can tell me, let us discuss what we think should have happened in this analogy. A team in an office, in an organization, the team was planning for an event. The event was supposed to, have concluded, but one of the team members was absent from work without permission. And because the team member was absent from work without permission, then the whole thing affected, because the team member is playing a key role in that. The whole thing affected the whole organizing and everything. And when he showed up the next day, then the team leader just came and said, initially he ignored him. He ignored him, didn't want to talk to him. But after, he couldn't also hold the anger, he busted out. If we had known, you wouldn't have included in our team. If this had happened, you wouldn't have, just lashed out immediately on the member. What do we think should have happened? How do we think this should have been judged? Based on what we have discussed about, observation, feeling, request, and the need, communication. How do we think it should have been?
From the key points, observation, feeling, and listening. First of all, the leader or whatever supposed to ask, good morning, why didn't you come yesterday? I hope all is well. The person will give him his own story why he will not come. Then the feeling aspect of it. The person will feel like this person is concerned about me before any other thing. Emotion.
Thank you very much. That you are blessed. Thank you very much. That observation part is important. No matter how you're feeling, take a deep breath. What? Because your interest is to resolve this matter. That's your interest. Your interest is not to now make the whole to create a riot in the office or in the organization. Your interest is how do I resolve this matter? How do we resolve this issue? Because that is when you are an effective person. If you compound the issue, you are not an effective person. But if you resolve the issue, you are being effective. And you have achieved. So what do you really want? I do not want what is the need in this thing? What do we think is the need in this situation? Because we have to identify it. What is the need? For the thing not to happen again, right? Maybe other people will now, maybe whatever happens, for the thing not to happen again. And for that project to move on and start running smoothly. These are the two needs. And so you ask yourself, whatever action you are taking, will it promote these two needs? Or will it further set confusion? And everybody will say, yeah, maybe we could scatter. The need, like rightly observed. I observed. Everybody was obvious. You observed you were not in the office tomorrow. Yeah, yesterday. Communicate your emotion, your feeling. And I was really disappointed. And it really made me feel bad. Say it as it is, because that is how you're feeling. And it really made me feel bad. I really felt disappointed about that. And what is it? And the person now, the person will now, when you say this thing about somebody, do you think the person will flare up? No, let's be honest. I observed that you were not in the office yesterday. And the thing really made me feel bad. We were really all disappointed. Do we think the person that is being spoken to will flare up? No, man, because they have their reasons. But when we do not know that they have their reasons, we judge them. We castigate them. And the person can now open up and say, this is actually what happened. And I was supposed to have communicated, but so and so happened. Then you further express your need. I wish next time you would actually, you want to say what can happen.
I'm not saying what I'm looking at this from the point of view here. Some of us have worked in the office. Perhaps that project